I just had no idea what I was getting into. Not just in motherhood, but in pregnancy in particular. And I think people expect it to be such a joyful time, and it's like, and you're like, oh my God, I'm tired. I want to fucking die. I hate this. But no one wants to talk about like how much you hate being entrapped and imprisoned with a human growing in your body, and that you cannot reach your feet. I always find that I'm pretty open about things that happen to me, and when I say to someone, oh, this happened, I had a miscarriage, everyone's like, oh, me too. And it was like, well, why doesn't everyone talk about these things all the time? Because it was terribly lonely and dark and sad, and it felt like no one could understand. It's a sense of shame, like, oh God, no, don't tell people, because now they'll see what you're really like. You seem like you have it together on the outside, but if people knew what was going on in here. I used to say to friends that I don't know a lot about having a baby, but I know you're supposed to take the baby home from you when you leave the hospital. So that was very difficult, and my doctor suggested that in this next pregnancy that I receive weekly progesterone injections to prevent early labor. So I was like, yeah, okay. And shortly after I started the progesterone, I just started to feel terrible, like exhausted, no desire to do anything. Literally all of the things that are clinical depression symptoms that I did not know now, but I do know now, like lack of desire to participate in things that normally make you feel happy, unwillingness to take a shower or walk your child to the playground, like had no desire to do anything, and had a 2-year-old son at the time, which was so sad and hard to not be able to show up and do things for him that I would have been able to do otherwise. And a couple of weeks into the shots, I just started feeling a lot of rage. Like I just wanted to take a baseball bat to like every car and just like flip shit over. Women just aren't really given a lot of space to be angry. And I was incredibly rage-filled to the point I love Beyonce, and I would listen to Don't Hurt Yourself, which is my favorite Beyonce song because she's just so angry and so enraged. And I remember I'd walk up the steps of the subway and I'd see my husband waiting to pick me up because he is a wonderful partner. And I'd have the headphones on and I'd wait till this one line. And she says, boy, I'm fucking up all your shit tonight. But she like screams it. And I would be like, okay. And then I could go on with my day and get in the car. I wouldn't do that because I didn't want to have another premature baby. And then I'll feel guilty and ashamed that I could have done something to prevent that and I didn't. So I'm not stopping them. And she said that she wouldn't continue to prescribe me the shots unless I started seeing a therapist. I had never been to therapy. The vibe in my family of origin, a term I also know from therapy, was that therapy is for messed up people. And there's nothing wrong with you, so why would you go to therapy? My perinatal depression, which I didn't even know I didn't know what that word was until I had it, was such a shock to me. I had no idea that was something that could happen to any woman when she was pregnant. It also comes in the form of incredibly dark thoughts about things that could happen during a pregnancy or to a child. And if I think about those things enough, then the child will not be born missing one leg. Or I had also convinced myself that because I did not have any friends who had a child with Down syndrome, that this child was definitely going to have Downs. Just anything, like did they miss something on the 20-week ultrasound? Perinatal anxiety to me was like child's play, pun intended, because we are talking about pregnancy, but postpartum anxiety was like, I could barely leave the house at times because you don't have the right socks, and what if it rains, and then what if this happens? Mine manifests in many, many, many to-do lists. Many lists that seem incredibly important, like researching best toddler waterproof shoes for a 2-year-old. And I think that my coping strategy for the anxiety was busyness. Like the busier I kept myself, the more lists, the more that I focused on the toddler shoes and trying to make everything perfect, the less I could really get lost in my thoughts. It wrecked my relationship with my husband for many years. Definitely. He didn't understand what was happening. I didn't understand what was happening. So My therapist would help me say things to him to explain it, and he just wants me to be happy. He doesn't want to see me suffer. So I really retreated from my relationship with my husband, who is literally the greatest husband/man in the world. All of the things that I do now that I know help me remain mentally well would not have come without therapy. Obviously, now I know therapy's the best thing ever and everyone should go. I am literally like a therapy salesperson. The number of women I have convinced to get on antidepressants, get in therapy. If I meet you at CVS in the prescription line and hey, what are you picking up? What are you doing? I am very open about my struggles in a way that I hope helps. You don't have to lie to them. That may seem pretty basic to people, but you don't have to say no, everything's cool, I'm doing okay, baby's great. You can walk in there and be I hate this, I can't do this. And it's so validating to have someone say, no, this is normal, this happens. You're not the only person who feels this way. I am proud that I am alive. I mean that. I remember saying to my therapist, I don't want to kill myself. I really was just too tired. I didn't have the ambition to take my own life, but I did not care if I was alive. If I had gotten hit by a car, I would have been well, that's a relief, thank God that's done. It's a really scary place to be for me, especially because I already had a child. Feeling I'm a burden to him now, and I'm a messed up parent, and I'm not able to show up for him. I'm happy that I'm alive, and I didn't feel that way when I was pregnant. I'm proud that I had the second child too. He's magical, he really is. And I'm happy that they have each other. And I'm proud that I am here. So I would love for someone else to not feel as terrible as I did, and know that I was also super afraid that I was going to be like this forever. I was convinced I had never experienced depression. I was convinced that this is who I was, and I was destined to a life of bleak sadness forever. And that was incredibly scary. So I would hope that someone else would see that and realize, hopefully, they'll get out of it too.